Hello and welcome back to Afrik Football, guys. Today we have a special video. We have joining us from, I won't say where he's joining us from. I'll let him introduce himself. Dean, please do give us your intro.
Hello, guys. Hope you're doing good. I'm Dean. I'm from Algeria, but right now I'm in London.
Oh, okay. No, you definitely need to give like an Afrik football type of intro. Is where you tell us where you're from. Tell us something about yourself, something exciting and interesting
What do you want to
about
know?
yourself.
Exciting? I don't know.
Something exciting and interesting.
Well, I like playing chess. I'm a good chess player.
Okay.
Exciting. I know that's very exciting. It's the best I've got.
Definitely.
And you're probably the biggest Benrahma fan around.
Yes, the man is a fan of it. Like West Ham. You could have talked about West Ham.
Yeah, I'm a West Ham fan. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Sorry about that.
The Hammers. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, we'll be getting into, I think, an exciting video. We'll be looking at the AFCON qualifiers. We have a total of about, how many groups do we have? Is it like up to group L?
So for the AFCON qualifiers, we've got 12 groups. Let me just walk us through here. We've got 12 groups. The groups range from Group A to Group L. Seeing that Africa is a continent with 52 countries, only 48 made it to the qualifiers. Others didn't make it through to the qualifiers because they were eliminated in the preliminary rounds. Those include countries like Somalia and Eritrea and some other countries here and there. But then we're going to walk through all 12 groups and give you guys the best tactical analysis, best preview for all 12 groups and teams you can actually look forward to watching throughout the AFCON qualifiers.
Right, so I'm just going to chime in and say that today's cast is quite special. We've got somebody who's a North African specialist. Actually, we've got two North African specialists sitting right on the panel, and I'm probably like a Southern African specialist. Dean, of course, for those who do not know, has a page, I think it's Dean Amin, which you could follow on his YouTube channel. We'll be able to link his channel in the description below. This is our first collaborative video. No, it's not our first collaborative video, actually. We did one where you actually featured in one of our videos talking about Algeria. Zambia versus Algeria.
We did. Was it a Zambia-Algeria qualifier?
Right. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. Dean, guys, for those who don't know, is a huge Algerian fan. He does Algerian content like consistently. He's probably one of the most consistent creators. For us as Afrik Football, this is probably our first video this year because it's really been hard to create content lately. But yeah, without further ado, we'll be getting into the groups of football. So we'll be looking at Group A, which has Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, and Sao Tome and Principe. Dean, you should kick it off.
Well, I think this is a matter of these next two games. How many goals are Nigeria going to score? Because I think the last game they won 10-0 against Sao Tome. And of course, they probably have the best striker in Europe at the moment in Victor Osimhen. So if I'm Guinea-Bissau, I'm very, very worried at the moment.
True. I would also like to jump in there. Looking at the fact that Nigeria scored 10 goals in their previous game, and looking at the form Victor Osimhen is in, but not only Victor Osimhen, but also Kelechi Iheanacho, I feel definitely Nigeria should be winning this game, and I also believe Nigeria will probably qualify through this group easily, like a hot knife slicing through butter.
No, I also I wouldn't want to be the devil's advocate and side with everyone, but those are facts. You can't take that away from Nigeria. This seems like a relatively easy group, and they're about to wrap it up because I know they have already 6 points in this group with Guinea-Bissau with 4 points. But ultimately, it's a double. It's more of a double-headed type situation scenario, and I don't think they're going to defeat them as badly as they did. Like 10 goals was slightly excessive in the first match, but I think it's gonna be much tighter. I think everyone has to learn from what happened in the previous match. So any other shockers that you might see happening from this group, guys?
Okay, so for me, I'll also jump in. Looking at the Nigeria Guinea-Bissau games, I feel definitely Nigeria have the edge, they'll win. But Guinea-Bissau at home is actually one of the tough fixtures in Africa, because I remember Zambia failing to qualify for, is it the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations? Because we actually drew 2-2 in Guinea-Bissau. So I totally believe that Nigeria going to Guinea-Bissau won't be the easiest game for Nigeria, but I still see Nigeria winning, but maybe by a goal and not excessive number of goals.
Yeah, Dean, any additions?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously Guinea-Bissau have been to the last 3 Africa Cup of Nations, So they're trying to make it 4 in a row for the first time ever. I just think Sierra Leone are going to struggle to finish above them. I don't think they have enough quality to beat Guinea-Bissau in the final game.
No, that is actually true.
But then looking at Sierra Leone, looking at the Sierra Leone team, they've got the Camara guy who's playing for Seattle Sounders in the US. I'm not sure if he's still with them, but he was in some good form about a season ago. So I believe maybe, just maybe, Sierra Leone can pull through against Sao Tome and maybe get 6 points home and away, and it would actually cause a big problem for Guinea-Bissau moving forward.
Yeah,
what do you think?
That Guinea-Bissau, the problem with the doubleheader is that it creates a different paradigm when it comes to the football game. Nigeria is probably going to try and wrap this group up by getting both wins in both games, meaning that Guinea-Bissau is going to be put at a relatively bad advantage, means Sierra Leone could actually beat Sao Tome and get themselves in a relatively good position where they could battle it out against Guinea-Bissau in probably the relative last game and have a chance to actually qualify from this group. So for me, what I think is Nigeria is probably sealed in this group. The biggest question is going to be who's going to go with them between Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone. Unless there's an upset on this particular match day coming up, like the doubleheader match day, I think my best thought is Guinea-Bissau will probably go through. They'll probably draw one game against Nigeria and lose. But again, I keep working on myself. I just can't see Sierra Leone going to this thing. But hey, who am I? Who am I to judge? So, what is your final verdict, Dean? Between Sierra Leone and Guinea-Bissau, who do you think is going through?
I think Guinea-Bissau will come second. I really think. Remember, Sierra Leone have played Guinea-Bissau at home already and drew. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to go to Guinea-Bissau still. And I can't see them getting a win there. So I think it'll be Nigeria first, Guinea-Bissau second.
Same here. Nigeria first, Guinea-Bissau second, Sierra Leone third, Sao Tome Prince fourth. But I totally believe should Sierra Leone pick up 6 points in the next two games, they might go with a different spirit to Guinea-Bissau. They might go there wounded. They might even go there just to play for a draw. We may never know. So all the best to Guinea-Bissau and Nigeria, but I'm not ruling out Sierra Leone as yet.
All right, then we'll be moving on. So we've already set up and wrapped up Group A. So we'll be moving on to Group B. With Group B, we have a couple of interesting fixtures: Burkina Faso, Cape Verde, Eswatini, and Togo in this group. Dean, pick it up.
Well, I have to say, Togo have been a disgrace. How they've got 1 point from those two games, and they drew to Eswatini. Now, we don't want to disrespect Eswatini, but Togo should be beating them. Right, and now Togo have to play Burkina Faso twice, so I'm really worried for Togo. It's not looking good for them, is it?
Wamba, do pick up.
Okay, so I concur with Dean on this one. You see, the Black Stallions of Burkina Faso, they're actually playing good football currently in Africa. They're actually a team to fear. I'm sure Dean will tell us a lot about them because they recently played Algeria. That I know for sure. Is it the World Cup qualifiers?
Yeah,
I think they're in the same group or something. Yeah. So looking at that Burkina Faso team, it's actually a very spirited team. It's players who actually play for the badge, players who actually play for the country. And seeing that Togo only have 1 point, which I got from Eswatini when everyone's supposed to be beating Eswatini in that group, because Eswatini actually played through the preliminary games for them to actually even just make it to the qualifiers. So yeah, I don't see Togo beating Burkina Faso anywhere, like home or away. Like I see Burkina Faso beating Togo home and away. But there's something to factor in, seeing that they're in the same region. Usually teams from the Western region that are not very, very good tend to actually give each other a problem. They'll either draw one game or something. So I won't rule that out, but I don't see Togo beating Burkina Faso anywhere.
No, I do understand where everyone is coming from. And I think, first of all, as the person who loves South African football and watches lots of COSAFA, I would say Eswatini isn't that bad. You guys shouldn't write them off.
Are you
eventually. Sure? I'm quite sure they're not that bad. I've seen them give Zambia a tough time once or twice, and I'm like, they're developing and they're building something. But I guess it's not right now. This is not the season for them to actually qualify. I believe most of the sentiments shared by both you gents there might be right. I think Burkina Faso should relatively clear this group quite easily. Togo is in a tough space, but I think they could pull themselves out. I could see by the time we're ending this doubleheader game week that's coming up, it would be a turn. I think Togo should probably be But again, Cape Verde has been good. Has been recently been very good, and I didn't hear any of you actually talk about them. So, what are your thoughts about Cape Verde before I actually give my verdict? What
You
are
know,
your thoughts?
when I look at that Cape Verde versus Eswatini game, firstly I look at the Eswatini challenges of the stadium actually not being approved by CAF. So I probably see Eswatini not even playing at home unless they get to fix that. So they'll probably play the home matches in South Africa. And in Cape Verde, I don't give Eswatini a chance. And then if Cape Verde move to Eswatini, I don't see Eswatini beating Cape Verde when they're not at home, because them being in South Africa doesn't mean they're at home. Like the fan base would receive if they were playing in Eswatini is different to the fan base they'll receive with them playing in South Africa. And that's one factor we need to put in all these groups. Teams that will be able to actually play the home matches at home are in a good spot. If you can't play all your home matches at home, then you're in a very terrible spot. So I don't see Swatini beating Cape Verde. And my final prediction for this group is Burkina Faso up there on top. Cape Verde comes in second. Togo will come in third, definitely. Eswatini dead last.
No, Dean, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to back up Eswatini for you, but I think it's sad to see Togo like this. I remember it was at the World Cup 2006, and now
2026 World Cup here.
Yeah, they can't even beat Eswatini at home. So I think Burkina Faso and Cape Verde will be very comfortable. Very comfortable.
No, I have to go with the flow and say Burkina Faso and Cape Verde for me as the way I see this group ending. So we won't dwell much on this group. We'll be moving on to Group C, which is another interesting group with Cameroon in it, Burundi, Namibia, well, the country where I studied, and Kenya. Mr. Mwamba, do pick up from here.
Hey, looking at this group, I can't even predict who's going to go through. Well, from the oldest guess, I know Cameroon will top this group, but then the other three planks, looking at Kenya, looking at Namibia.
Let's also keep in mind that Kenya has been disqualified. Remember, just like Zimbabwe, Kenya is also one of those disqualified nations. So this group is running for 3 teams. Yeah, so Burundi and Namibia are probably the other guys who have a chance to qualify in this group.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I know Cameroon are through, so it's between Burundi and Namibia, and Cameroon will do justice for Burundi and Namibia. They'll probably beat them home and away and let the two guys actually settle the score. So when I look at the Burundi versus Namibia game, really, like the time Burundi had maybe Berahino, I'll be like, yeah, maybe they'll stand a chance. But I look at Namibia nowadays and I look at the likes of Peter Shalolile, who terrorized El Ali with Mamelodi Sundowns, and I look at Dion Hoto, who's playing for Orlando Pirates currently, and he's actually a very good attacking midfielder. I look at the Namibian players playing in the South African League. I actually fancy Namibia beating Burundi.
Dean?
Well, like Mwamba said, I think Cameroon easily going to come top. They'll win every game. I think that second place, Burundi and Namibia, I think it's 50-50. I think it's too hard to call. Obviously, Burundi have a centre-back in Diashima. He just went to Nice. He's been very, very good in Nice and Liga. But I honestly, that might probably come down to goal difference or something, I reckon. But that's tough to call.
My thought. For me, definitely I'm going to side Namibia. You guys know I was biased. I studied there, spent 5 years of my good life there. And I would definitely say Mwamba's the people Mwamba did talk about are actually on point. We've seen Peter Shalolile has been on form ever since he came from his injury back in December when the World Cup was being played. Now he's back. He's banging in like a brace every other game. Dion Hoto had a very recently good game from over the Nedbank Cup that was being played over the weekend. And I actually do fancy their chances. And I've seen Shilongo is back into the Namibia national team. So for me personally, I think Namibia has a good shot at getting this game. And for them trying to host, is it our upcoming, so what's this? What are we trying to host? They're bidding with Botswana to host one of the AFCONs. I think they're trying to also settle themselves as a superpower in the Southern African region. So I believe for me, I'm going to side with Namibia, but you guys know there's a bias because of lots of other factors. But for Burundi, I know Burundi actually did lose one game. I guess that was against Cameroon and drew one. So I think against Namibia, of course, I believe that Namibia has an advantage going into the game weeks. So for me, Namibia is definitely going to be second in this group. Cameroon, of course, solidified number 1. Number 2 is probably going to be Namibia. So, is there anything else you gents would like to add about this group?
Really, it's a dead rubber group for me. So for me, Cameroon first, Namibia second, Burundi third. Dean, maybe.
Well, I think taking Kenya out of it is a real shame because I would have liked to have seen Kenya compete for second place. But I'll go along with you two. I think Namibia can get second.
Yep.
You don't have to side with us, Dean. It's one of those games. You don't have to side with us.
That's your second home.
All right, then. We'll be moving on to Group D, which is a very shocking and surprising group. Looking at the names in there and how it's currently ranking, I'm quite shocked. Ethiopia is topping this group currently after the 2 games played. Malawi is second in this group, with Guinea third, and surprisingly, Egypt is at the bottom. But all teams in this group actually have 3 points because they've won 1 and lost 1 equally. Guys, Dean, do pick it up.
Well, it's interesting. Like you said, they've all got the same points. So it's like the group hasn't even started, really. They're basically starting from scratch again. I think with Egypt, new manager, Rui Vitória, they beat Belgium in a friendly just before the World Cup. They look very good. I think it's going to be very close between the other 3. And don't write off Mahango, because I tell you what, Mahango could single-handedly fire Malawi to second if he's on it. But
yeah,
you might edge Guinea though for second if you had to pick one.
Mwamba,
for
the good news.
I'm going with Egypt first, definitely. But my second choice team is Ethiopia because SuperSport currently acquired rights for the Ethiopian Premier League. So I've seen Ethiopian Coffee, some of the clubs in Ethiopia, and when I look at their league, it's something that's fast-paced, like I feel as though I'm watching the Bundesliga. Players score goals for fun. I do not know, maybe the defenders are trash there, but I feel the players are not scoring goals for fun. And I look at the attackers I have in Ethiopia currently and the American commentators. The soccer there looks so fun, and the players seem to be in fine form. So I'd actually go with Egypt first, Ethiopia second, and for the rest, I really don't care because they're not going anywhere.
No, I'm going to chime in and say, I feel like on each and every group, I have a bias. Malawi is probably like my third home. Now, technically, my third home right now. No, Gabedini Mohango has been very good. I've seen Gerard Piri has actually also been quite good. I know Gabedini Mohango is Amazulu has relatively been picking them up, and it's like he's topped up the level ever since leaving Orlando Pirates. He's actually been quite good. He's taken it up a level. I've seen him link up with Laruwalia from Zambia, of course, my other player. So I think Malawi in this group could probably take second spot. I know Guinea might be one of those like wildcard teams that I will be looking out for, but I believe Egypt is, if everything goes right for Egypt, I know North Africans, I'll say it here categorically, Southern African teams struggle against North African teams, and I think Malawi is not even an exception. So Malawi is definitely going to lose to Egypt regardless of what happens. So Egypt is going to top this group in my mind. Personally, I think Malawi will be second. I know Mwamba is hyped up Ethiopia because I know Mamelodi Sundowns did get a couple of players like our player Nazir is from, of course, Ethiopia, but I think it's the quality of the defenders, as you say. The quality of the defenders in the Ethiopian league might be subpar, and that's why they are getting lots of goals. So for me, personally, Egypt number 1, Malawi number 2. I'll give Guinea where they are currently because of goal difference number 3, and lastly, Ethiopia will be closing the group. Are there any contradictions? I'm here to take contradictions.
Malawi's going to do it. Malawi's going to do it.
Definitely.
Come on,
I know something.
Nah, guys, I'm telling you, Ethiopia is the future. Ethiopian football is, if you see their league, you'll be like, these guys score goals for fun. They literally score goals left, right, and center. Like, if I was ever going to place a bet on an Ethiopian game, it's like 3 goals and more, and it will always happen, It's like the Bundesliga. The goals never stop coming.
Oh, no, we will be waiting, Mr. One, but we'll be here to review this sentiment that you share after the 2 game weeks are played. All right, so we'll be moving on to Group E, which is also, I think, one of those groups that covers a lot. It's got Ghana in it, it's got Angola in it, the Central African Republic, and Madagascar. Dean hit us with the good news. And let me say, the last games that were played in this group were all draws. All the teams did draw. So it was kind of weird, but I was like, hey, what a game week. So Dean hit us with the good news.
I think Ghana Black Stars are going to come first. I think they'll be very happy with the first place. And this is a new Angola. This is a new Angola. A lot of players sort of Portuguese-based, playing in Portugal, that are switching nationality. They're sort of building a new team, and I quite like it. Madagascar had a good chan recently. They got to they come to third place, and they got some good local talent there. Yeah, I just think Angola might have enough quality playing in Europe to get that second spot, and I think Madagascar third, and I think Central African Republic are going to come last, unfortunately for them.
Mwamba.
All right. I would also like to jump in. I look at the Madagascar squad. I look at the Angola squad. So we know the Black Stars will definitely be first in this group. So the two teams to look out for is Angola and Madagascar. Seeing that Madagascar lately have been a team that's actually been a force to reckon with in Africa, reached the CHAN semifinals, finished third, I think. They reached a quarterfinal of an AFCON just recently. So I look at the Madagascan team, and they're a spirited team, and I look at the Angolan team. Yeah, of course, the players will come in. There's some players actually who are changing nationalities and coming in with the new Angolan passport. But I do not feel they understand African football as yet. Like I do not feel they're the right players to actually bring in for an Africa Cup qualifier. So I look at this group. I honestly feel the Madagascar team, with a mix of the local players and the few foreign players they have playing in the second divisions of France and everything, I look at Madagascar actually finishing second to the Black Stars of Ghana.
All right, so I will just chime in and say, all right, I do understand what the sentiment is. We have pegged Ghana as the top four runners in this group. Of course, I gotta carry this group. I do not argue with that. I feel like I just want to dissent everyone's as his resolution, but it's just African football is just like that. You know that this team is gonna qualify first, so it's always gonna be you fighting for second, third place. So I think I'm also going to side with everyone and say the battle will be between Angola and Madagascar. Both from the Kosafa region. I've been seeing them play both. It's surprising. Ever since Madagascar had their man as CAF president, they sort of like got a resurgence and became a very good team on the continent. And it was kind of shocking. We used to wire these guys like 7-0, and I'm like, how is Madagascar a good team now? But yeah, currently they are actually a good team, very shocking and surprising. And I do understand the connections that the Angolans have right now, currently off the African continent. Personally, for me, I think I will side with Angola.
Yep.
Surprisingly, Petro de Luanda has been performing very well in the CAF Champions League, which has been interesting to watch. And they've had a couple of local players there, and I'm assuming that resurgence of football from the Angolan league and seeing how Petro de Luanda has been performing, it's something that has impressed me with, of course, Angolan football. So I'm just going to say Angola second in this group. Madagascar is probably going to be third, and lastly, Central African Republic. I know we're doing Central African Republic bad, but that's how I see it going. Any other additions, guys?
No, that's pretty perfect.
Yeah, if not, we'll be moving on to Group F, the most important group right now. Algeria, Niger, Tanzania, and Uganda, the cranes of Uganda in this group. I would say Algeria is definitely top in this group right now with 6 points. And the rest of the other, of course, it's like Tanzania and Uganda have like a 1-1 point with Niger at 2 points. Dean, do pick it up. This is your group. You have to shine. Give us the information. We're here for this.
Yeah, well, we're playing Niger twice. We're playing one in Algeria, and the away game is in Tunisia because they don't have a CAF-approved stadium. We played them in the semi-finals of the CHAN, beat them 5-0. We played them in the World Cup qualifiers, beat them 6-1 and 4-0. I think we might have double figures, boys, for this game.
All right, the level of confidence.
But I think Uganda might get second place. I like Mia.
Really?
Yeah, I like Farouk Mia. I like they've got some good players. They've got some good players. Even without the goalkeeper, Monyango, they've got some good players.
Yeah, but do hit us the good news.
Oh, okay. So I look at this group. Hey, Algeria is like my second nation, lived there for 5 years, so Algeria is definitely top in this group. I look at Niger, like when you live in Algeria, you actually have this connection. You feel the Niger guys are like your brothers, because you find a guy from Niger every now and then, like even in uni and everything. I would really want Niger to qualify. I definitely want Niger to qualify, but then they're going to play 2 games against Algeria. And the fact that they play the second game in Tunisia doesn't even help the situation in any way. I'm sure had they been playing a team that's not Algeria, that have actually even preferred playing their second game in Algeria. So I look at that group. I know Algeria will be faced. Uganda. Well, Uganda have got this funny record. They never actually really lose when they're at home. And that can actually come to help them. Looking at this group, I feel Uganda can use that to their advantage, though it might not be like that this time around, but I feel that's what will help Uganda actually finish second in this group. And yeah, like Dean said, Algeria will probably beat Niger home and away, probably even a 10-0 somewhere if Algeria actually gets serious with what they're doing.
Thank you.
To be honest, this has been the worst group. They all by or nothing. All professionalism went out the window, and the gents started talking about Algeria. Very
Oh,
disappointed in you lot. I'm very disappointed in the two of
Being
you.
realistic.
Do better, guys. You guys are pundits. You're representing Africa here. It's not about Algeria. Anywho, I'm going to chime in and say, of course, Algeria is going to definitely qualify from this group.
Come on.
They will probably get a draw against Niger. The second game will be a draw. I'm back in Niger to get a draw against Algeria.
No.
You guys will quote me on this one. You catch me after the game. I'm like, I told you guys so. But ultimately, that being said, I personally am more interested in the Tanzania versus Uganda game. I feel like those are two nations that I really have been enjoying watching lately, particularly with Tanzania with Simba and Young Africa. I've been seeing them having some good talent there. I know like lots of the people in Simba and Young Africa, the top scorers like Moses Piri, Kennedy Musonda, all Zambians who are like the top scorers for both teams. But I think the Tanzania in principle actually have a good team. If you definitely watch the Tanzanian league, you'll be able to see what their good talents are. And they've been top, like the talent has been, it's been growing. I know East Africa hasn't been the best in football, but I think they've been growing. But Uganda, I think Mitro Serovic is with Uganda, right, Mwamba?
Yes.
Yeah,
Uganda.
Mitrovic is with Uganda and the former Orlando Pirates coach. Yeah, I was just trying to refresh my memory. Yeah, but he is quite good, and I think he did coach Zambia, and tactically he's a very good coach. So I believe in these two games, where it's going to be Uganda versus Tanzania, I think Uganda is probably going to edge Tanzania in those two games. And ultimately, on the last match day, I believe it's going to be Algeria up at the top, Uganda second, Niger third, and Tanzania finishing dead last in this group. Any other thoughts, gentlemen, on this group?
The one thought I have on this group is Tanzania can actually be a tough team to beat because of their goalkeeper, Manula. He plays for Simba. He's one of those keepers where whenever I see Manula play, I'm like, why isn't this guy already playing in Europe? He's a very, he's a modern keeper. He can distribute the ball, and he's very good at making saves. And it's rare that you actually get both of those two in one keeper. So I see him a lot in the CAF Champions League. So I hope maybe he might do something, but I still see Uganda finishing second. But for me, he's the guy who make Tanzania finish third and Niger dead last.
Dean, any additions on your group? This is particularly your group. I'm calling this on your group.
Well, it is our group, but it's our group because we're going to get 18 points and beat everyone. That's why it's our group. I see Simba play a couple of times in the Champions League, and they got a couple of wins there. They might probably go to the quarterfinals as well. But of course, Uganda, the last time they qualified for AFCON, they had the same manager they have now. So
yeah, it's true.
I think Uganda will get second.
Sure.
All right. That's I guess that's an agreed upon position with the pundits who are very biased towards a certain team. But moving on to Group G, guys, right now we're going to be having Mali, Congo, Gambia, and South Sudan in this group. Gents, Mr. Mwamba, do kick us off from this group.
Mali, Congo, Gambia, South Sudan. I look at the Gambia team. I looked at Gambia play actually at the under-20. They reached the semi-final. Yes. And they were a legit team. They were an elite team. And the youngsters, African age cheating. Like, we can call them youngsters, but they look so experienced, because I saw them beat the Zambia under-20 team. Those guys looked so experienced. They're young. Apparently, they're supposed to be 20, but they look 36. I won't even go much on that. But looking at Congo and looking at this group, right? I look at Congo. I know Congo qualify first, and I know most of you will say Congo won't qualify first, but for me, I believe Congo qualify first. And looking at the young, old Gambian team, I feel Gambia will be second, and it's a serious prediction. Like, jokes aside, that's my prediction.
Dean, what are your thoughts on this group?
Oh, you got to say Mali will win the group, man. I mean, Mali got some good players. They got some great players. They got some really good players, man. Yeah, Janepo's so good. He can play in so many positions. They got a good team. I think Gambia are getting second. I think they're going to go to Congo, Brazzaville and win. at some point. I think remember the last AFCON, they got to the quarterfinals as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think Gambia is like the dark horse of the African continent. They've been okay relatively. They've been in fine form. And for looking at the under 20, I was very shocked at how they got themselves into the final. And that loss to Nigeria was, to Senegal was quite
Senegal.
shocking. But the way Gambia has been playing from based on the under 20 team, that was actually quite good. And if they can pick some of those youngsters from that team, I think they'll be a force to be reckoned with. Of course, I'm siding with the both of you and saying Mali is probably going to wrap up this group. I believe Congo Brazzaville.
For me, it's Gambia and Congo. Gambia and Congo.
He doesn't have Mali qualifying.
Brazzaville. Congo
I'm not rating
Brazzaville.
Mali. I do understand. Listen, I do understand. Everyone believes Mali will qualify off this group, but I feel it's a kind of group where there's always that one group where the team you all expect to qualify doesn't make it, and I feel Mali have started the group well, but I don't see them qualifying.
They're topping the group with 2 wins, back to like 2 wins.
I know.
What?
I've seen Gambia play, and I know what Congo Brazzaville can do on a good day. So I do not see Mali qualifying. They'll be there, third.
They'll be there. Okay, so because we have to make mention that Congo is probably going to be playing Sudan, so South Sudan, so they'll probably get the 2 wins in this game. Or if something goes wrong when they're visiting, they'll probably get like a draw. But I think Congo's probably going to be in pole position, but I don't think Mali is going to lose the top spot. Personally, I'm going to go with Mali and let's see, Congo, Gambia. I would say Congo, Brazzaville. I think they'll probably have more experience currently, and I think they're more comfortable in the African continent. So I think Mali and Congo probably edge this group. I know Gambia might be hoping to sneak in, but my personal thoughts are Mali for the win, Congo second, Gambia third, and Sudan, of course, is going to be closing the group. Anything else on this group, gents?
Nothing else on my side.
I just can't believe you don't think Mali are going to go through. I mean, what are you smoking over
I'm
there?
getting shocked. Mom, what is going on? Are you okay?
I'm very okay. Like I look at the Congo Brazzaville South Sudan game, 6 points there, and I look at the Gambia Mali game, and I actually see Gambia winning at home and getting maybe a draw in Mali, and then the dynamics of the group change. So I know Mali are a good squad, but I don't see Mali qualifying.
Okay, no, we'll take you on that. We'll be back to review these statements people are making, the allegations of saying cheating and stuff. But that is not my forte right now. We're moving on to Group H, guys. Group H, Mwamba's group. Ivory Coast, Zambia, Comoros, and Lesotho in this group. 2 teams from the Southern African region. Ivory Coast, who are definitely the host of this tournament, if I'm not wrong, and Comoros. Mwamba, hit us with the good news.
So this group is like this. Ivory Coast are the host, so they automatically qualify. But now the biggest challenge is only one other team can qualify, of which sucks a bit, But anyway, I always want Zambia at the AFCON. So
it's not like you're going to beat Ivory Coast like any of these any of those teams are going to beat Ivory Coast and like fight for the top position. So it was never going to happen. So let us forget about that.
All right. So I look at this group, really, it's an affair of Zambia versus Comoros. And the thing is, the fact that we're from the COSAFA region, Lesotho can respect all other teams, but then, they'll be there to disrespect Zambia. But Comoros are also from the COSAFA. They do play COSAFA.
That's what I wanted to say. I'm like, 3
Yeah, so I'm happy on that part, Like, I feel if Comoros were maybe a team like Gambia, if Comoros were maybe a team like Zambia, Lesotho would respect Gambia or respect a team that doesn't play in COSAFA, then give Zambia a hard time because they disrespect us because we play them like every year. So this time around, the fact that Comoros is from COSAFA, Zambia is from COSAFA, and Lesotho is from COSAFA, and looking at the Zambian team, the likes of Patson Daka, Enoch Mwepo, he's now out. He's retired. Fashion Sakala playing for Rangers, and he's been in fine form with Rangers, and the likes of Emmanuel Banda. I actually see Zambia finishing second in this group, and qualifying for the AFCON. And the fact that we beat Comoros in the face game, when we met Comoros, means we're actually in a very good place. We're actually in the stadium watching that game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we're actually in the stadium.
What do you want to add on? No. Well said.
Well, I think it's a bit strange that to have Ivory Coast in the group when they're already qualified. It kind of takes some of the jeopardy away, you know.
Yeah.
I think Zambia will get second. They already beat Comoros at home, and I think they Patson Daka is a very good player. He should play more at Leicester. I think he should be starting more games. They should play him and Iheanacho together. That would be nice to see. But
Yeah.
I think Zambia could look forward to the AFCON. I think you should book the flights to Ivory Coast.
Right. I'm just gonna come out and say, I love my nation, guys. Like, don't doubt. There's no shadow of doubt in me. But we can be weird sometimes. And seeing that we play Comoros and Lesotho like every other week. The most shocking thing is I saw the Lesotho goalkeeper as I was watching like from their friendlies. He basically stated like, we're going to beat Zambia home and away. I was like, the audacity of these guys. Where are they getting the audacity to disrespect us like that? But that said, I believe if Zambia plays, seeing that we have a new coach who's Avram Grant, it's kind of disappointing that he hasn't had a chance to actually play any friendlies using his squad. So I don't know how the team chemistry is going to be. I don't know if there's going to be a communication breakdown, the barriers. There's so many things that could go wrong. And that's why I'm right here sitting and thinking, Lesotho could have one over us and it could shut our whole dreams, or we could beat them and we could be going forward. So for me, as Dina said, the Ivory Coast Comoros game, it's going to be a weird game because Ivory Coast isn't playing for anything. But I'm believing Ivory Coast is going to be professional and field their best and strongest team against Lesotho or against Comoros. And I know Comoros isn't they are slightly an okay team. They're not a walkover team. I've seen them. They've been building something. They've also been recruiting people from outside the continent, but they've been building slowly. But I personally believe the Zambia Lesotho game is going to be the decider for Zambia. And if Avram Grant does not click just at the start of these games, it probably will be bad news for Zambia. We might be missing another AFCON. But if all goes well, I believe Ivory Coast, of course, will top the group. Zambia being second, and Comoros will finish third with Lesotho at the bottom. That's my prediction, guys. Anyone else want to add something? Anything else, Mr. Mwamba?
Yeah, so just to add the final thing, I look at the Lesotho squad. I know Zambia and Comoros are all from COSAFA, but Zambia have been, the bad guys of COSAFA. They have the second most COSAFA with Zimbabwe. Actually, Zimbabwe, they actually now have the same number of COSAFAs with Zimbabwe. They've won them. Yeah. And seeing Zambia in the southern region, because only two teams actually have won the AFCON, of which is Zambia and South Africa. So hypothetically, Zambia is the best Southern African team. So even these other teams take joy and pride in beating Zambia. So I hope with the new coach and those dynamics, I hope Lesotho don't actually get one over us. Because I remember in the 2014 World Cup qualifiers, when we were in the same group with Ghana, we actually beat Ghana at home, and we're actually at a stage where if we beat Lesotho, it wouldn't even matter what would go to do in Ghana. Like, we would qualify by beating Lesotho. And I remember Lesotho actually holding us to a 1-1 draw, and we had to go to Ghana now in search of a draw, and we ended up losing 2-1 in Ghana. So yeah, bad memories. I know COSAFA teams, when they meet us, do everything humanly possible. Like, they would literally create a Messi for one day just to get one over Zambia. But yeah, I still stand Zambia second. But hey, COSAFA teams can be weird at times. I actually hate them.
All right, guys. Moving on to Group I. Mauritania, Gabon, Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Dean, hit us with the good news.
I'm going to shock everyone. Okay, I'm going to shock everyone.
Please, I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
All right. DR Congo are going to win this group.
That's not a shocker.
That's not shocking.
That's what it is. They've got no points on the board. So the pressure is
I
all
know.
on them.
They lost their first two games, but I feel like that's so shocking. I think they're going to
win it, guys. I think they're going to win the next two. They're playing Mauritania. I think they'll beat them twice. And I think Gabon will get second.
But you see Mauritania. You see Mauritania. I've got a thing with Central African teams playing teams from the north. I know you guys from the north don't consider Mauritania as a stronghold or a powerhood up there. But I saw Mauritania in our previous AFCON qualifiers because we're in the same group with Mauritania, if I'm not mistaken. And
right.
they didn't look like a bad team. Like, they were an okay team, and they played a good football. I can't say it's the best football on earth, but they just played good football. They could actually make 5 passes, and in Africa, it's rare to see a team actually making 5 passes. So I do not see Congo beating Mauritania both home and away. And now coming to think of it, I actually forgot that Congo don't have all the points on the board, because I was thinking Congo actually have the points on the board. But for me personally, I look at this group, and I look at the Congo, I look at Mauritania. I feel these are like teams that could actually do something. But then now I do not know who will finish first and second, and I'm now having a hard time to actually decide.
Right now, I would come in and say, surprisingly, I think DR Congo is going to do the thing. I just feel like they'll beat Mauritania in the 2 games. Of course, Gabon is still going to top this group because Gabon is playing Sudan twice, and they'll probably wire Sudan when they do play them twice. But I believe Congo might beat Mauritania and have 6 points, while Sudan will have like 7, 8, 9, 10 points. Of course, Gabon will have 10 points, and Congo have like some. For me personally, I think this group will end with Gabon up top, with Congo a second, then Mauritania third, and Sudan last. I don't know. That's how I see it. Weirdly, I
For
just
me,
feel
it's Gabon up top, Mauritania second, DR Congo third. Now I've decided between Congo and Mauritania. I'm finishing with Congo third, so Mauritania actually comes in second. Like they're not bad.
Dean, thoughts.
Well, Mauritania are a good side, but DR Congo have got some really good players. And remember, they were 90 minutes from the World Cup. They got to the playoff. Played Morocco, which is a very hard game. They got something in the first game at home in Kinshasa. They nearly won the game, but they got a red card, so they ended up drawing, and they lost their way to Morocco. I think the tournament needs DR Congo. We didn't have them last time. I think we'll see them this time, and I think the 2 North Africans here will not come out.
Okay, no, definitely. I'll need to see how this group wraps up. So we'll move on to Group J. Group J has Tunisia, Equatorial Guinea, Libya, and Botswana in it. Dean, do kick off the group.
Group of death.
What?
This is Tunisia will come first. Easy peasy. I don't think Libya will go through. I haven't seen enough from Libya in recent years to see it suggest they can qualify for this tournament. Equatorial Guinea had a very good AFCON last time. Of course, they beat Algeria, ended 35-game unbeaten run, and they ended up going to the quarterfinal. Sorry, I had to mention it, but Botswana at home are a decent. They can hold teams. They held Tunisia last time. Algeria went there. We only won 1-0. Can they?
Was it the Belaili corner?
The corner went in, and if it wasn't for that goal, I think
the corner went in. I remember that game. I remember celebrating like a madman. Yeah,
we couldn't break them down. If Botswana can beat Libya and Equatorial Guinea at home, you can't rule them out.
Number, go on.
Like I actually side with Dean on this one. I look at that Botswana team. Like Botswana has invested madly in their soccer, because they started. Is it a 20-year project? That's back in 2013, where they were actually going to invest a lot of money. The diamond mine there, is it DTC, was going to invest like in Botswana football and just try to get Botswana football to a particular level. They even introduced a new cup and everything in Botswana. So I know one thing for sure, Botswana is actually a tough team to play at home, because I remember we had an AFCON qualifier with Botswana in the group, and we actually drew in Botswana 1-1 when Fashion Sakala scored. And I looked at the Algeria-Botswana game, like Algeria had phases where they played well, and that was prime Algeria, when Algeria was still playing good football. And they only scored from like a corner. And I look at this Botswana team at home. If they can actually get the points on the board at home, like try as much as possible not to draw, but just get even a goal, I see the Botswana team actually fighting for second place. And Equatorial Guinea, Botswana and Equatorial Guinea will actually fight. But there's the Libyan team that actually played Lupopo from DR Congo, the CAF Champions League lately. I saw them play, and the commentator actually mentioned one thing. He said most of the players in this team actually start in the Libyan team, and the team was not bad. Like, it was a decent team, and they're like, I don't know if they have the cap against signing foreign players in Libya, so most of their players for the national team actually be picked from the Libyan teams. They were pretty decent. So final wrap of the group: Tunisia will be first, Equatorial Guinea, the only Spanish speaking country in Africa, will probably be second, and say Botswana finishing third. But it will be a very tough one between Botswana and Equatorial Guinea. And also Libya could actually give Equatorial Guinea a hard time somewhere, hence making Botswana actually stand a chance. The boy is not fully in Botswana's court, but I feel Botswana can actually stand a chance.
All right, so I'll jump in and say, Botswana. I do like Botswana. Their favorite neighbors, one of my favorite neighbors here down south, but I just don't see. I don't see it. I understand they've been investing, but they're probably the best export currently is Cooper, the guy who was playing for LD in Lusaka, and I'm like, if you've had the program, let's just say 20 years, you're supposed to get a certain level. Right now, they're supposed to be like finding guys who are born abroad, who are like Botswanan people and all that kind of stuff. But I think, who are Swana people, and I have not seen them make any impact. And of course, the standard of Southern Africa is if you're in the PSL, the DSTV PSL, you're probably doing and producing some good players. But Botswana hasn't been doing that of late. I know they are working on that bid with Namibia to host the AFCON, but they haven't done much to impress me. And I'd say Tunisia, of course, North Africans are probably going to wrap up this group quite easily, nice and clean. So it's going to be a question of Equatorial Guinea. Is Equatorial Guinea up to scratch with what they're doing? Like, Equatorial Guinea has to go to Botswana, get a draw home, because it's hard to beat Botswana at their home ground. They've just beat them at their home. Once Equatorial Guinea does that, then they've wrapped up this group. So for me, my final stand is going to be Tunisia and Equatorial Guinea. Tunisia 1, Equatorial Guinea 2nd. Botswana will probably be 3rd with Libya at the end. Dean, what was your lineup for this particular group? How do you think it's going to end?
Tunisia first, comfortable. There's always a couple of surprises, and I think this is the one. I think Botswana are going to come second. I've just got a feeling they're going to do it, and that would be massive for them.
No, definitely that would be massive for them, because Botswana second. I don't see it.
This is
unfortunately I don't see it. Really?
They're never going to get a better chance because they got a point against Tunisia already in the home game. So they've already played Tunisia once. They have 2 games coming up. If they get 4 points in the next 2, with 1 home game left, they've got a chance.
I guess so.
True.
Anywho, we'll be moving on to Group K with Morocco, South Africa, Liberia, and of course, the disqualified Zimbabwe. Of course, have been disqualified. So it's a group of 3 teams, which is like Morocco, South Africa, and Liberia. Dean, do hit us off with the good news.
I'm still annoyed that Zimbabwe are not playing. I like Zimbabwe team a lot. I like Masona. Come on, it's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a shame. It is quite a shame. Like, I've noticed, but they were supposed to be banned a while back because of the interference by their FA and all that kind of stuff. It's the political side of football in Zimbabwe is what has ruined the football in Zimbabwe. It's the same as what was going to happen in Namibia, but I don't know. But yeah, it's a shame Zimbabwe's in there. Would have loved to see how the dynamics would have played with South Africa in the same group with them, but
exactly.
Go on.
But this group's a waste of time now. It's just going to be Morocco and South Africa, isn't it? It's just going to be Morocco and South Africa. Come on, it is, isn't it? No disrespect to Liberia, but Morocco and South Africa will be very comfortable here. Very comfortable.
Yeah, I look at this group. I feel if Zimbabwe was there, it should have been like Morocco, Zimbabwe. But now, like, it's just Morocco, South Africa. Like, I don't see Liberia doing anything. Like, do those guys even play soccer? I remember when Liberia played the friendly. I think that was the Algerian local team versus Liberia. I was like, why are they even organizing such friendlies? But anyway. But yeah,
you
like
I
nice
just people.
Nah, like why? Why would you organize a friend with Liberia? Like that even makes sense. Not even for a local team are you supposed to be doing that. Come on. Maybe, just maybe. But yeah, I see Morocco first, South Africa second, and it's just a game of Morocco versus South Africa, and we all know who will win that. So yeah.
All right, I guess I have to side with everyone now. I'm joining the biased team of pundits who are here who don't rate Libya at all. So yeah, of course, Morocco's probably gonna finish first. They already have 2 wins in this group, and they're in pole position to just get one more and probably wrap this up. With South Africa probably going to come in second, and I know they've invited a very good squad. South Africa's actually seen that we do create lots of essay content. I've seen that they've roped in a number of players from Mamelodi Sundowns and the Orlando Pirates. Kaiser Chiefs like only like 1 or 2 players, which has been a shame. It's quite disappointing. I'd have hoped lots more Kaiser Chiefs players would have been in the squad, but hey, Pacey Tau has been firing. He scored 1 goal against Mamelodi Sundowns over the weekend in the CAF Champions League against El Ali. So I think South Africa have probably, this is like the easiest group they'll ever play in to qualify. If Zimbabwe was there, I know that Zimbabwe does give South Africa a tough time because of how lots of Zimbabwean players do play in the PSL, but definitely Morocco's gonna be a top of this group. Morocco has been great lately, and that's like no shocker. They've been good. They've been great. We saw them at the World Cup. Yeah, so I guess there's not much to say about this group. Like, I'm very lost for words. I'm like, this isn't even a group. Libya should have said we won't travel, we save our expenses, we just like give you guys like 3 points and then forget about this. So we'll be moving on, of course, to the very last group, the group with the African champions in it: Senegal, Mozambique, Rwanda, and Benin. Dean hit us with the good news. How do you see this group going out?
I think we all know who's coming first here. I think it's a no-brainer.
Mozambique,
So I
of
won't waste
course.
any time. I think Senegal will be very, very comfortable first. Now, Benin, for me, what a mess. Their team is so old. They're still calling up Sessegnon. I think it's 38. I mean, Steve Mounier, it's the same players there all the time. And they're not been very good. So Rwanda and Mozambique will fight for second. Mozambique had a good chat and actually lost the quarterfinal to Senegal. And now they're playing each other.
Yeah.
Rwanda will be looking at Benin and thinking, oh, we could beat them twice and give ourselves a chance.
True.
Wamba,
True. I see Senegal top in this group. Benin, Mozambique, Rwanda. The dynamics are so wild there. But I remember last time around, Mozambique actually beat Zambia for the AFCON qualifiers. I think that was 2019. Yeah, and I look at that Mozambique team, like it's not bad. I look at teams from the Mozambique league because we've got some players playing there, the likes of Linik and all. They're not bad players, and they're also on the rampage of actually signing players who had their grandfathers from Mozambique and they're now living in Portugal. So there's that whole gig going on there in Mozambique. Like, and they get them from the Rio Aves, teams from the Portuguese League 2, League 1, and everything. So maybe, and Reliendo from Atletico Madrid, though he got injured, I think, was it 2 weeks ago or something? Yeah, he's actually a good defender. I actually fancy Mozambique finishing second. I might be a bit biased because they're from the Kosafa region, but I actually see them finishing second.
Yeah, no, I'll chime in and say, of course, no brainer, Senegal. Congrats to them for making it to another AFCON. Clearly, they're a good team. Then, secondly, it's gonna be an issue of Mozambique versus Rwanda. Of course, Benin, we already talked about them and how they're just like recycling players. Like, guys, I don't know what's wrong with African football. Certain guys just don't want to retire. Dude, go home, get some rest, chill with the kids. Like, relax. Like, you don't need to be there. Let other guys shine. But ultimately, I respect Mozambique. I know they're from the Kosafa region, and it seems like I'm being biased. But I haven't seen Rwanda do anything that has impressed me of late. Maybe it's something I've been missing, but Rwandan football hasn't been great. I know the economy is great, their president is doing great, but that's all I know about them. But football-wise, there's not been much that I can talk about in relation to Rwanda. I think Mozambique is probably a better footballing nation at this point because they've actually been doing some great things. I've seen the way they've been storming Kosafa. They've been a very good team. So for me, my final predictions are Senegal, top of the group, Mozambique second, Rwanda third, then Benin will be dead last. Gents, anything else that you need to add on to these groups? Any other games that you're looking forward to that you could say this is a doubleheader I'm looking forward to watching this coming weekend?
I think the best game, the best doubleheader football-wise, I think will be Ghana Angola. I think that'll be 2 good games.
Decided that. I think that's gonna be good. Yes, Mr. Wamba.
I'm also looking forward. I'm also looking forward. Of course, Zambia Lesotho is one thing I'm looking forward to.
Of
Algeria
course.
Niger. I'll probably for Algeria Niger. I'll probably just watch the highlights. Like the highlights will probably be as long as the game because it will be a goal like every minute.
That's not wrong. You're not wrong.
And then
Personally, go on.
Angola, Ghana. One thing I know for sure is Angola is going. Ghana is playing the game in Kumasi because I think that's the only stadium that was approved. The Accra one apparently has. I don't know. No, I hear they have a problem with the grass or something. I do not know if they've rectified that yet. So knowing Ghana in Kumasi, I think they've now gone 47 years without a loss there. So that should be very easy to do. I do not know what magic goes on there. And then in Angola, Angola is a different place, a different ball game. And I know most Anglophone teams, when they go to Angola, they actually complain that the people there are a bit rude. The hostile, there's like this hostile feel about Angola. Like even when teams go there for Kosafa, there's always been these complaints about Angola. So I hope maybe that could get into the Ghanaians' brains, and the Ghanaians can actually maybe draw or lose there, so as it just makes a group entertaining through the final day.
All right, for me personally, the games that I'm looking forward to seeing is the Egypt-Malawi game. I think it's the game that's going to turn the group up. Like, it's going to flip everything. It's going to be tipsy-turvy. So for me, I definitely love Malawi. I probably should have I should have worn my Malawi jersey. Yeah, definitely. I love my Malawian people. I love them. It's like, as we call them here in Zambia, Zambia extension, of course, Chipata extension. If you like live in the region, you know, like I was actually in Malawi a few months ago. So it's actually a pretty good place. It's basically Zambia's second version. So I'd like to see that game. I'd like to see how Gabedini Mohango and Gerard Banda are going to perform in that game. So that's the game for me. Gents, thank you all for showing up to this preview and basically like a review preview of what's going to happen in the AFCON qualifiers with the predictions. We'll put you to task once the games are played. So Dean, any closing remarks for our viewers?
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure. And remember, we're playing Algeria, our first game ever, in the Nelson Mandela Stadium. Should be
that's happening too. Yeah, I saw that for the what tournament did you have? Chan. Yeah, for the Chan tournament. That was actually it's a stadium.
I feel it's a stadium worth visiting because I remember in my uni days, I would always see them like when they were still doing the construction. I'd always be like, I have to watch a game in this stadium. Then I complete uni and leave Algeria, and I hear they're playing a game there like the next 2 months or something, and I'm like, for the tournaments and everything, I'm like, oh my god. But anyway, I'll probably definitely go back to Algeria for a tournament or something, you know. Yeah, so looking at the games coming in this weekend, you guys will probably see Dean a lot more here at Afrik Football. You'll probably also see us on Dean's page. Probably if I can assure you, if Niger beats Algeria, even in one game, we'll flood Dean's page. Like we're literally going to go live on Dean's page.
Not gonna happen.
We're going to go live, so
we'll definitely be there.
You can come.
We'll definitely be there. So. So yeah, you'll definitely see Dean more here, and you'll definitely see us more on Dean's side. So yeah, guys, like continue watching and subscribing to Afrik Football. Follow Dean also. You'll find a link of his page in the description below. And yeah, like thank you very much for tuning in.
All right, then I will definitely wrap it up and say it's been a very good show. It's been an hour plus of us just talking, chatting football, and giving our best insight and lots of biased takes from certain gentlemen here. But definitely, I have been your unbiased host. This is Afrik Football. Remember to like and subscribe. And see you guys in our next video. Bye. Peace.
All right. Peace.